Welcome to yet another edition of our study of the developing embryo. Until now, we've seen the development process which happens in the first 3 weeks of the embryo's life. However, before we proceed further, we need to look into certain disorders which can happen if something goes wrong. Why do they become important? We all know there is something called the embryonic period. What is this embryonic period? The time from the 3rd week to the 8th week of development. 3rd week to the 8th week, which means the time until 2 months. 8th week will indicate completion of 2 months. So the first 2 months, especially the time between the 3rd and the 8th week, become important because this is the period which is called the period of organogenesis. It's also called the embryonic period, after which the fetal period would start. The changeover from the embryonic period to the fetal period will be the borderline, at which point the embryo starts exhibiting features which make it look like a miniature adult. So this period is a crucial period. The 3 germ layers would be giving rise to various tissues and organs. The organs would subsequently develop into the organ systems. So before we proceed further to the embryonic period, it is necessary that we take recap of what has happened in the first 3 weeks and try and analyze what can go wrong. This is for us to understand that certain anomalies and certain abnormalities will happen if something goes wrong in the first 2 or 3 weeks. Facts to be remembered. Fact number 1, implantation, which is a very important process for the embryo to sustain itself, starts by the 6th day, which means much within the first week of development, and proceeds into the 2nd week. Gastrulation, as far as the human embryo is concerned, it starts in the 3rd week. 3rd week is the week of gastrulation and continues into the 4th week. Gastrulation results in 3 processes. Process number 1, multiple cellular layers come into existence. Process number 2, sidedness of the embryo, the right-sided, left-sided structures. Polarity, cranial polarity, caudal polarity, determination of the axis, the direction. All these things get established because of gastrulation. Process number 3, the germ layers are formed and internalization of certain tissues happen. The 3 germ layers, and if these germ layers roll and fold, certain tissues will get into the interior of the embryo and certain other tissues will form a kind of a protective covering. So these 3 processes are a result of gastrulation, and it is necessary that we remember gastrulation starts in the 3rd week and continues into the 4th week. By the end of the 3rd week, we have already seen the embryo is kind of broader in the cranial area and narrower in the caudal area. We discussed this as the pear-shaped embryo. Because of this process, since the cranial areas